Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. To our Patreon patrons and YouTube subscribers, thank you very much. That is keeping Shane in enough cash to produce this show. None of it's going to me, so don't feel bad. You are supporting the site so that Shane can produce all sorts of content, and we do appreciate it. If you have done those two things or not, still remember to link your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. Amazon will pay us if you do that. Remember, you've got to re-up that every month or so. So if you're watching this and haven't done it in a while, please re-up that link, Twitch to Amazon Prime.
This episode of Pachter Factor is brought to you by DeShazer Ryan Realty. Right now, Doug DeShazer has beautiful lots available adjacent to Koocanusa Lake in northwest Montana. Pull up your RV and access the hookups, or build your own construction. Either way, you have access to world-class fishing, hunting, boating, swimming, biking, hiking, and the internet. No matter where you're looking to buy, make Doug DeShazer your real estate consultant at 406-291-1643. That's Doug DeShazer at 406-291-1643.
Today's question from Patreon from Darth Irv. As Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard comes to a close, what do you think of the full deal in the context of the regulatory fight? Will the deal still be worth it to Microsoft at a whopping $69 billion without being able to fully leverage Call of Duty and other franchises? What's your final grade on the deal? Will the struggles getting this deal passed chill the prospects of other large gaming deals? Well, first of all, there's a lot of dispute, disagreement, confusion about exactly what this final deal does. And in fairness, nobody's being really very forthcoming about the terms. So we have the CMA announcement, we have Microsoft's announcement, we have Ubisoft's announcement, and the three of them kind of use terms interchangeably, like cloud gaming and streaming. And so there are many people who read this as saying this is cloud gaming only, and Game Pass can have Call of Duty anywhere it wants exclusively, and no other subscription service can get it. But cloud gaming services can get it as long as they stream it from the cloud. So the guys who let you download it to your PC and play it locally, that's fine. I'm not sure any of that's right. Okay, I don't know. So I have my take, and I am telling you, I don't know. I will know when the deals are all signed and I can read the actual agreements. But the CMA put its head up when it said there's this market called cloud gaming that we need to protect. They initially said subscription streaming and cloud gaming were different, but their description of the two businesses was really confusing, and I'm not sure they know what they're talking about. But the way they defined it, subscription was Game Pass, and cloud gaming was Stadia, which, as you all know, ceased to exist a few months later. And they also didn't explain exactly the business model for cloud gaming, and they said you could be given games by the service, none of whom do that, or you could bring your own game, right? So this ruling that Ubisoft has the exclusive streaming rights or cloud gaming rights outside of what they call the European Economic Area, which is EU plus Norway and Liechtenstein and Iceland. But Ubisoft has exclusive rights. If it's to bring your own game, what exactly do you need Ubisoft for? If bring your own game, who are you buying your game from? You're buying it from Activision titles, which after it's owned by Microsoft, you're buying it from Microsoft. So what is Ubisoft giving you? The right to stream it? I'm bringing my own game. So if in fact cloud gaming is bring your own game, we don't need Ubisoft to be involved in it. Nobody is paying for the rights to a game if you're bringing your own game. So the only thing I believe it can mean is if the game is included as part of the service, meaning that Ubisoft has the right to Call of Duty on a streaming basis, which would include Game Pass. And if Microsoft wants to put it on Game Pass, they have to license it from Ubisoft. Ubisoft has the exclusive rights to Activision Blizzard titles in the UK and every part of the world other than the EEA. And if Microsoft wants to put Activision Blizzard games on Game Pass, they have to license it from us. So let's just say that the rights to Call of Duty are worth $100 million a year. Microsoft would pay that, right? If Activision remained a separate company and was going to collect $100 million a year, and then decided to sell those rights to Ubisoft, let's just say for 15 years, 100 times 15, $1.5 billion. Ubisoft would pay something less than $1.5 billion, but not $100 million. They pay $1.4 billion or $1.2 billion or something, present value. Well, would Ubisoft cough up $1.2 billion for the rights if they didn't know for sure Microsoft would want to license them for $100 million? So they must have all talked. And Microsoft must say, if we're selling you the rights, Activision, then Microsoft will pay you $100 million a year. Here's a commitment. We'll pay you $100 million a year. I think that's what happened. Not a commitment from Ubisoft to sell it. Ubisoft can sell it to the highest bidder. A commitment from Microsoft, here's what we're willing to pay. So now Ubisoft knows what to pay, right? And if Ubi can, and I picked $100 million out of my butt. I'm making it up just because I can do the math in my head. So if Ubisoft has a commitment from Microsoft for the next 15 years, we will license all these rights for $100 million each year. And that's in writing, guaranteed, and you're free to market it to anybody else. Now Ubisoft can make the commitment and pay up for the rights. Then if Sony wants to come along and pay $120 for exclusive rights, they can do it. And then Microsoft has to raise it to $130 or $150 or whatever, and they get in a bidding war and Ubisoft makes money. Awesome. So let's take my example and now let's make it ridiculous. What if Microsoft said, we'll pay $1 billion a year? There's no way Sony's going to pay $1 billion a year. If Microsoft said, we'll pay $1 billion a year, in writing, here's a commitment, and Activision said to Ubisoft, okay, we want to sell these rights to you for $15 billion. No interest, deferred payments, you pay us $1 billion a year. Well, if Ubi can sell them for $1.1 billion, they'll make money. If they can't, Microsoft's committed they'll pay $1 billion, right? So Microsoft pays Ubisoft $1 billion. Ubisoft turns around and honors its contract and pays Activision $1 billion. Everybody's whole, right? What did Ubisoft get out of that? Nothing, zero, except the non-exclusive rights in the EEA. Ubisoft now has a right. Microsoft has all the rights in the EEA. They can publish on Game Pass in the EEA. Ubisoft can go sell those rights to Sony if they want. They're worth something. They might be worth $10 million. Not 100 because it's not exclusive, but they're worth something. That's the deal. I may be wrong because I'm telling you now, I don't know. But I put it all together, and this is how I think it works. Now, I had a whole bunch of Twitter followers reply to me and say, no, this is xCloud only, and if you get it under Game Pass, but it's not Game Pass Ultimate, and you're going to download it to your PC, and you don't have the xCloud factor, they can still get it. Maybe. In which case, why did the CMA get involved in the first place? Why do they care? There is no market. And if it's bring your own game, which is essentially what these guys are saying, why do we need Ubisoft involved? Ubisoft doesn't have to give the right to do anything if I bring my own game. The terms of buying the game are, I can play it on any platform. I own it. So I can play it on the Stadia streaming platform. So I think I analyzed it correctly. I could be wrong because I don't know. I am merely a guy who's been doing this for 23 years, and I have a lot of industry contacts. I have 2 law degrees. I know how to read contracts, and I understand how the regulatory structure works. The value, I don't think Microsoft gave anything up. The only thing, if you go with my construct, the only thing Microsoft lost was exclusivity in the EEA. So Microsoft bought Activision so it could sell its games on multiple platforms, and they're going to keep doing that. And they bought Activision so they could get all the mobile revenue. They'll keep doing that. And they bought Activision so they could put Activision Blizzard titles on Game Pass. And they're going to be able to do that on an exclusive basis everywhere except the EEA. Now that's a big market. EU plus Iceland and Norway is 300 million people. I'm guessing it's a third of the total console market. It's pretty big. But it will still be on Game Pass in all those places, just on a non-exclusive basis. So that's sort of like saying you put the show Friends on Netflix along with all the other content on Netflix, and Friends is also available on Peacock, but they don't have all the content Netflix has. Are you going to drop your Netflix subscription to sign up for Peacock just to watch Friends? See, I don't think so. Now, the other place, Ubisoft gets the right to use that content on Ubisoft Plus, and even in the exclusive region. So when Ubisoft licenses to Microsoft, they're getting it in the US and UK, which matters. But it's really the only thing on Ubisoft Plus, which costs $19.99. So are you going to pay more to get Call of Duty from Ubisoft Plus, or pay less and get all Bethesda titles, all Activision Blizzard titles, all Obsidian titles, all Hellblade, all the Ninja Theory, all the other stuff? So I mean, answer is Ubi gained a little bit because they get the non-exclusive rights in EEA. They gained a little bit because they beef up Ubisoft Plus, but it is not big. And whatever Microsoft ends up paying Ubisoft, I expect that's what Ubisoft's going to end up paying Activision. I came up with a construct where no money actually changes hands, but it doesn't matter. It's priced to be fair. The Ubi doesn't profit from that part of the deal. They do profit by getting it on Ubisoft Plus globally and getting the non-exclusive rights in the EA. Hope that answered your question. I think it's a good deal. Activision is killing it, and I think that Microsoft ended up paying a fair price but getting a modest bargain. Thank you, Patreon patrons. Thank you, YouTube subscribers, for supporting Shane in his quest to keep the SIFTD site alive. This is important. Thank you if you have linked your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. Shane is getting paid for that, so thank you. You are supporting the site. If you are watching this a week late, that's because you didn't do any of those things. You can still link your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. But you're required to follow me on the site formerly known as Twitter, at Michael Pachter.